So Nikki Haley, as you all know, is having a brief moment in the sun here where she surged in the polls in New Hampshire. According to one poll, she's only 4 points down to Trump in New Hampshire. That's kind of a big deal. And of course, she has all the backing, all the money in the world from like the remaining Koch brother and other right-wing billionaires. They've really settled on her as the one to take on Trump. Of course, Ron DeSantis is probably butthurt over that. But look, the polls show she had quite a surge, at least in New Hampshire. And so they're trying to capitalize on this moment and get her across the line and get her more competitive with Trump nationally, which he still is not that competitive with him nationally. But man, she cannot help herself. Whenever she comes out and gives a speech or does an interview, she ends up saying some of the dumbest shit you've ever heard. The recent one was like, she couldn't bring herself to say that slavery was the main reason for the Civil War. She gave like a Sarah Palin answer. Well, many people say it was about the freedom and the capitalism and liberties and the size and role of government. Yep. And then everybody was like, you moron. Of course it's slavery. She was like, well, I mean, obviously it's slavery, but then now when we talk about it, it's in the context of liberties and the size of government. Anyway, that was super embarrassing that she did that. But she couldn't help herself. She wanted to give the right-wing politically correct answer. In the same way that when she's asked about Trump, she's now saying, like, I'll pardon him, right? No, I don't think he's guilty of any of the 91 criminal charges he's presented with. It's all right-wing political correctness. She doesn't want to piss off the base, so she's going with that. Well, now we got another one of these moments. And she tweeted this like she's proud of the answer. This is amazing. So you're going to ask about, hey man, why is recruitment down in the military? Yeah, gee, I wonder why recruitment is down in the military. Why could that be? Let me think about it. Here's what she says.
When it comes to the military, what's an interesting thing is we're down 25% in recruitment. And what has typically happened is 80% of the recruits that we get are from military families. And for the first time, military parents are telling their kids, don't do it. The reason is, look at what's happening in the military. They're not mission focused anymore. I mean, for goodness sake, stop making them take gender pronoun classes. It's demoralizing to our military. Stop in all these programs that don't matter. Let's start focusing on cyber, on space, on artificial intelligence, on making sure that we're focused on the threats of the future and not living in the past. They've given all of these, diversity and equity and inclusion programs into the Department of Defense. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And make America strong and proud again. We have to have people who come in just like they did after 9/11. My husband joined after 9/11 because they so loved the country, our freedoms, and our blessings that we have. We have to get back to that. The tone at the top matters.
So her answer as to why recruitment in the military is down is, well, they're teaching them gender pronouns and gender role classes, and you have diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they're taking their eye off the ball, what they should focus on. Are you insane? Are you insane? No, Nikki, you know what Occam's razor is as to why recruitment is down? Maybe because people look at the U.S. military and they go, am I going to risk my life to go fight for this country with what we're doing, with how we're acting, with who our allies are? I don't think so. I do not think so. People have woken up to the fact that they were lied to relentlessly by Nikki Haley and people exactly like her. This idea of, oh no, we're fighting for freedom. That's what we're doing, and we're going to go get the people who got us on 9/11, which why we're going to attack Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with 9/11. People have caught on to the lies. When Trump ran in 2016, he was saying, yeah, the war in Iraq was based on a lie, and Saddam didn't attack us, and it was a dumb war to be in Iraq. It was dumb to be in Afghanistan. So, Republican voters were like, yeah, I agree with that. And Democratic voters were saying that all along. They were opposing Bush from the very beginning. They were opposing the Iraq war from the very beginning. So the whole population goes, oh, it turns out the war in Iraq was a lie. Holy shit. We did an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. We killed hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians. We displaced millions, and thousands of our own people died. And then we occupied it, and the military-industrial complex got rich after the fact. And then you have Afghanistan. That was viewed as like the just war, the moral war where we go after Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Well, I got news for you. There was only, even at their peak, there were literally hundreds of Al-Qaeda members in Afghanistan. And we decided, well, we're going to attack the Taliban for giving safe haven to Al-Qaeda. And then come to find out, Osama bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan. He was killed much later on in Pakistan. And then, by the way, we continue to stay in Afghanistan. So hold on. Saddam Hussein, dead. We got him. Osama bin Laden, dead. We got him. We still stayed for a decade after that. We're still in Iraq. And in Afghanistan, thankfully, we finally pulled out, right? All the boots on the ground were pulled out by Biden, not by Trump. And so people are looking at this and they're going, well, this seems to be a whole bunch of bullshit. We weren't fighting for freedom. We weren't fighting for democracy. We weren't even fighting for, like, quote unquote, revenge. It seems that all that happened here was all the military industrial complex companies, the defense contractors, they got really wealthy. And then politicians got a lot of campaign contributions from same said companies. People are onto it. They know it's bullshit. They know it's bullshit. They look at what's happening now, right? The U.S. arming and funding and backing Israel as they slaughter babies in Gaza. And they go, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to fight for that. I wouldn't want to be on their side for that. Go look at the polls. Don't take my word for it. Young voters, the most. Young people, the most, are like, this seems horribly immoral and unethical, what we're doing here and what Israel's doing with our backing. So you want to know why recruitment is down? Because nobody wants to go fight for a cause that's wrong, morally and ethically. Nobody wants to fight for something that's indefensible. Nobody wants to wake up and feel like, am I the baddie? Am I the baddie? They don't want to feel that. When you talk about World War II, shit, I would imagine most people in the country were like, yeah, let's go fight Hitler. Let's go fight Mussolini. Let's go fight the Japanese Empire. Why? Because you got the sense it was really this existential battle. And you had the forces of dictatorship and fascism and, total Aryan psychopathy, right? With eugenics and the hierarchy of races from the Nazis. You got the sense of like, yeah, this is existential. And like, for whatever our flaws are, Nazi Germany is way worse. And so I would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. But guess what? Since then, it's not as black and white now, is it? It's not like a superhero movie where it's like one pure good guy, one pure bad guy, and you got to go save the day. So people are, am I going to become cannon fodder for an empire that's routinely now doing things which make us immoral and unethical? Am I going to go do that? No, I'm not. I'm not going to go do that. And that's where we are, man. So maybe the problem is people don't want to go to the military when you have psychos like Nikki Haley constantly pushing for war with Russia when we don't need, constantly pushing for war with China when we don't need, constantly pushing for war with Iran when we don't need. Maybe that's the problem, Nikki. People don't want to sign up to go fight and die for your dumbass neocon ideas. They don't want to go fight and die to try to take down China in the nuclear age. They don't want to try to take down Russia in the nuclear age. They don't want to try to take down Iran or Hezbollah in the nuclear age. We don't have this sense of pure good and pure bad, pure moral and pure immoral anymore, because that's not the world that we live in. And oftentimes we end up being the bad guys and the wrong guys. Not always, but many instances today, certainly backing Israel, that's exactly that. So maybe that's the thing, Nikki. Maybe that's the reason people don't want to sign up. They don't view the U.S. military like they did perhaps when they were kids or when they were more naive. Where it's like, oh, we're just the good guys upholding international law and human rights and the rules-based international order. People don't look at it like that. You know why? Because everybody grew up. Everybody matured. Everybody started looking at what's actually happening. And that's a problem for her and her worldview. Because her worldview is based on, give me more kids for cannon fodder. Give me more kids for cannon fodder. She's very clear about it. She'd never met a war she didn't like. And so, of course, she's second in the polls to Trump. By the way, Trump is very hawkish as well. So there's no winning there either, but there's also no winning with Biden because he's the one who's backing and arming and facilitating the genocide in Gaza. So there you go. There are your choices. But this is the one that is surging the most on the Republican side. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.